LGBTQ equality now. LGBTQ equality now. To lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer,
Everyone has a different take on what love is. Some people think it really matters on the biological sex of each partner. And this is where the whole entire debate of same-sex marriage and really anything that is related to being anything but straight in the United States comes from. There's some just plain misunderstanding. Debates about did people choose to be gay or lesbian, whether or not they should be able to marry the person they love, whether there can actually be love between two people of the same sex. I'm here to talk to you about my story. I hope to change some minds and hearts and make people realize that my love is the same as your love. In other words, the love between two girls is the same as the love between two guys, or, more relatedly, the love between a man and a woman. I was 11 when I began to question my sexual orientation, 13 when I realized that I was a lesbian. All this isn't the point of the story. It doesn't matter when I realized. It doesn't matter that I am a lesbian. The issue here is love, not who someone is in love with. Love is a beautiful and kind thing, and true love exists between any biological sexes. Biological sex plays no role in love. Your sexual orientation is just the way you're born and what you are naturally attracted to. There are some people who are pansexual, so you can literally say that the biological sex plays no role. A pansexual falls in love with anyone regardless of what biological sex they are. Not everyone sees it this way, but my goal today is to help some people see it that way. I want to talk about my coming out process. It was really, really simple. I just wrote a letter to my mom, stuck it in her purse, and she read it. It was more of like a story. I wrote about how this girl was having trouble with her life and struggling with her sexual orientation, and eventually she realized that she was a lesbian. It wasn't until the end that I wrote a sentence that said, "That girl is me." So not until the very last sentence did my mom know that the whole entire letter, the whole entire story was about me. And she dealt with it well. She just told me, "Well, you're too young to know. I'll believe you when you're 16 or 17. I'm 18 now. I think she believes me now. My dad knew before I even told him. I told him, "Hey Dad, I have something to talk to you about." And he finished my sentence, "You like girls." I remember the moment really clearly, because it meant a lot to me, and he just said, "That's perfectly fine with me." I never was judged by any of my friends either. My friends never judged me. I was never called a dyke except for by one person, and he's totally accepting of it now. And so I really never had that much trouble. But I want to help the people who are having trouble and who have had trouble. Well, I didn't experience a lot of difficulty coming out or with people bullying me about my sexual orientation. I did have a very rough relationship. At 15, I met a girl and I saw her as an absolutely wonderful person. She told me she was the type to open the car door, to never lie, to never cheat. She had a gorgeous smile and a cute laugh. She was a bit of a tomboy. She snowboarded, she played guitar. She told me about a time when she got hurt after trying to do a dirt bike trick off of a table. To me, she just seemed perfect. So about a month and a half later, I called her my girlfriend. For a while, we had a wonderful relationship. We didn't fight, we enjoyed each other's company, we laughed together, we got along excellently, we always wanted to see each other, we saw each other pretty much every day. In high school, we were out and accepted. No one judged us for our relationship. And my parents knew, and they were also pretty much fine with it. 4 months into the relationship, things started to get really rough. She cheated on me, and she began to make a habit of it. But this is one reason that we ended up breaking up on and off. There was just a huge lack of trust, which led to a shitload of arguments. I always stayed faithful to her, never gave her a reason to suspect me of cheating, but she constantly claimed that I was cheating on her. Along with this, she began drinking excessively, disclosed that she was bulimic, bipolar, and anorexic. All of this led to fighting almost constantly. My parents stepped into the relationship, took it into their own hands to separate us. And I know now that that was for my own health. Still, at the age of 15, I thought that love could conquer anything. That one day things would just get better, that she would change, that we would be back to when we met. We would be having a wonderful relationship. We were so desperate to stay with each other. We continued our relationship for another year over the phone. But no part of the relationship was healthy. Somehow we still loved each other. There were things she loved about me and things I loved about her. She was silly, took care of sick people, and I remember this time when she came to take care of me, which was really sweet. Especially since my parents were there. She didn't have to do it, and she did, so that was a sweet thing. She was into snowboarding and dirt biking. She loved animals. She liked a lot of the same music that I did, and there's a lot more. And summing it up, I thought that things really could have worked out if she didn't do the things that she did. Speaking today, I am over her. I'm look you in the eyes and say that, but I was in love with her at one point, and I really did think things could have worked out, despite all the unhealthiness. So underlying all of that unhealthiness was still this undying love and devotion to one another, in a sort of way. I mean, she cheated on me, so she wasn't that devoted. The relationship lasted for a year, 6 months, and 24 days before I finally broke up with her. Come July, we will have been broken up for 2 years. I have not spoken to her in 1 year. I want you to see past the label of a lesbian relationship and just look at it as a relationship between two people who loved each other. I want you to see that anyone can fall in love and be determined to keep that love, no matter what the cost is. For me, that cost was a rough relationship and separation from the girl I loved. She was the only person that I ever have loved so far. But I want you to see that a similar story could happen to anyone. A man and a woman, a man and a man, or in my case, a woman and a woman. My love is the same as your love. It exists in its perfection and in its problems. I ask the person watching this video who doesn't agree with same-sex relationships to consider the negative parts of love. But consider these negative parts and realize that if you support marriage equality, you'll be supporting our right to be miserable too. If you really hate us that much, let us be miserable. And to the person who agrees with same-sex relationships, I want to thank you for your openness and your support in the fight for equality.
It's soft lips and it's air. It's fire I see when a woman's there. It's not mind, not body, it's heart.